Old hall. This tapestry here depicts the wedding feast for Clement Sisley's daughter Mary to Abacut Harmon. And there you see the priest of St Margaret's, Reverend Richard Tyrwhitt, who would have performed the ceremony of marriage and the christenings and burials that we're going to see in our very last part. Sorry I couldn't focus too much on bits in the other room because it's a restaurant, you see, and people are eating there, so it wouldn't be fair otherwise. The Yule log, while not the most flamboyant of decorations, the Yule log was a family established tradition for the Tudor family at Christmas. Traditionally, a large log would have been gathered from the woodlands on Christmas Eve and decorated with ribbons before being laid in the hearth. The log would be kept alight throughout the 12 days of Christmas. It was also thought as a sign of good luck to keep some of the charred remains and kindle the following year's Yule log. The burning of the Yule log is thought to originate in the midwinter rituals of the early Viking settlers, who would build great bonfires to celebrate their festival of light. The great hall where you are standing now is likely where the family would have enjoyed the Christmas feast, with the head of the family sat on a slightly raised dais where the table is set slightly... where the table is set to signify their status. The Yule log. You can see right up the chimney there. Oak chair, early 18th century, please do not touch. We do not know exactly when the story of Eastbury began, but we do know that it was once part of the huge manor of Barking, owned by Barking Abbey. The abbey was established in 666. The earliest evidence describing any building or activity at Eastbury is dated to 1331. A document concerning the manor of Barking suggests that there was a house here or hereabouts. We also believe that a substantial barn was already in use by that time, making an impression. In 1557, Clement Sisley, a man of some means, bought the Eastbury estate and built a substantial country house, known at that time as Eastbury Hall. It was a family home designed to impress. After Clement Sisley died in 1578, Eastbury Hall passed through many different owners. Over 450 years, the uses of the house and estate have changed greatly. From its origins as a gentry house, Eastbury Manor, as we call it today, has been used as a rented farmhouse, a base for wartime activity, an ex-servicemen's club, a children's nursery, a museum and a day centre. By estate, we mean all the land and property that considered part of Eastbury. It included this house and any other houses, farmland, barns and other farm buildings, rabbit warrens, pastures, marshes and woodland. Tracking the history of Eastbury. Ruin and restoration. Over the years, a turret has collapsed and rooms have been made into stables. However, several phases of rescue and restoration have brought this magnificent building back from the brink of ruin. Sadly, all the other buildings belonging to the house have long since been demolished. Most recently, the London Borough of Barking and Dagenham has received substantial financial support from the Heritage Lottery Fund. 2 phases of building exhibition and interpretation work in 2002 to 3 and 2008 to 10 have improved access, facilities and displays. Now more visitors and users can enjoy exploring the discovery of Eastbury's story. The Great Hall. A place of meetings, feasts and celebration, this large room was Eastbury's Great Hall, an impressive space where Clement Cicely and his family entertained their guests. In Tudor times, the walls were probably richly decorated with tapestries and painted cloths and plaster. The Cicely family greeted their guests from a raised dais or platform at the east end of the hall behind you. The door beyond the dais led to the private wing of the house used by the Cicely family. The Great Hall was originally somewhat longer than the room you see today. It was separated from the front door and kitchen by a timber screen and curtain rather than this wall. The dais is a boarded floor and the rest of the floor was tiled. The fireplace would have made an impressive centrepiece. Sadly, the decorative stone fire surround was sold in the 19th century, although it has since been rediscovered in Sussex. In the mid-19th century, the room was reduced in size and became a Victorian living room. And there's a timeline here which I'll slowly walk you through. Pause to read things like this if you want. I'll read all the main descriptions for you. And while the Great Hall is empty, we shall see and enjoy it. And since I came last time, it's got its Christmas tree up, which is nice. And that's where the dais would have been and the family would have sat, with a nice roaring fire. And the thing of hospitality in those days was quite important. If strangers or guests came by the house, it would be a gentleman's duty, really, to entertain them and not be mean. A toast to the happy couple. The applique hanging shows a typical Tudor wedding. The columns in the background are copied from wall paintings in the painted chamber on the first floor. The hanging was commissioned by Eastbury Manor House's volunteers, designed by Penny Purchase and worked by Nicola Borrow. Wedding ceremonies in Clement Cicely's time were conducted in the church, so Clement would have been surprised to find that civil ceremonies are held in his Great Hall today. He would have, however, recognised many features of today's wedding ceremonies and the words used in the marriage contract, as they have changed very little over the centuries. And we get another view out of one of the little courtyard gardens. Let Eastbury story unfold. Discover the different chapters of Eastbury stories as you explore the house and gardens. The Summer Parlour, find out about Eastbury and the people that once lived here in our short introductory film. The East Chamber, find out what's new in the temporary exhibition. These are all things that we can look at as we go along. The Yule log would have existed as a Christmas celebration in Clement Cicely's time, but certainly not the Christmas tree. That's an advent of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, a German tradition brought over by Prince Albert. Took off in the 1840s and people have loved it ever since. Same as weddings and the White Wedding. white wedding dress. That was a thing of Queen Victoria's as well. She was really one of the first to wear a proper white wedding dress, and that tradition took off after Clement Cicely's day. His daughter Mary would have worn a very nice gown, but certainly probably not white. Only the incredibly rich with loads of servants could afford to wear white, who could keep it clean for them. Puzzle of the vestibule. This hallway is central to the layout of the private family wing. It leads to two large living rooms, a private staircase to the upper floors, and the walled garden. However, if you step outside and look back, you will see that the doorway spoils the regular pattern of the windows. Would Clement Cicely have designed it this way, or was the doorway into the garden added at a later date? A list of household contents written in 1603 refers to one halbert being stored in this hallway. Perhaps this weapon was here for decoration rather than for use in anger. In the Victorian period, this vestibule became a tack room where horses' harnesses and bridles were stored. Later, this space was fitted out as toilets, where the winter parlour was used by the Barking Services Club.
The general misconception is that the estate was built to provide for...
The outside, the grounds and that we'll cover at the end. Tudor-inspired mirror made from pieces of antique furniture, date unknown. Oak dressing table in the 17th century manor, date unknown. Please do not touch. I absolutely love this old door and door frame.
On every single little piece around the bathroom
There's a lot of stories there, and it needs to be utilised for something. Providing the infrastructure goes in properly, and I can't see any problem to feel it doesn't do so.
I'm assuming that they know what they're doing. You know, it's no good banging 3,500 homes down if there aren't the roads, if there isn't the electricity, if there isn't the...
Making hay and fattening livestock. Hay carts were a frequent sight on the rich marshland alongside the River Thames. The most important of Eastbury's crops was hay, grown on the reclaimed marshes. Rather than selling cartloads of loose hay around the countryside, Frederick Whitbread invested in a state-of-the-art machinery, installing a hay compressor in Eastbury's barn. This machine used hydraulic energy generated by water passing through pipes and squashed the hay into neat bundles, similar to today's hay and straw bales. Before the mechanisation, haymaking was labour-intensive, with both men and women working as rakers and forkers. Good profits could be made by grazing animals on Eastbury's rich marshland pastures and then selling the fattened animals to London's many butchers. An extract from a handbill of Frederick Whitbread, 1860s. This is what we're looking at here. Agreements with butchers date back to Clement Cicely's time at Eastbury. Frederick Whitbread Fleer also makes it clear that he is willing to buy any animals unsold at market for the purpose of fattening them for resale himself. He also offers grazing at a price for animals belonging to others. The man himself, Frederick Whitbread and Co. Frederick Whitbread and Co. Farmers, graziers and compressors of hay. In 1858, Francis Sterry, owner of Eastbury Manor, was looking for a new tenant. Frederick Whitbread was recommended to him and a 14-year lease was agreed. Whitbread was based in Wapping. Now he added Eastbury Hall Farm to his business interests and moved with his family to Eastbury. Almost half of the land that Whitbread farmed was marshland, coloured green on the plan, ideal for grazing animals and for hay production.
Eastbury Hall was built on the fertile meadows of Barkingham by a wealthy lawyer from his town, the audacious Colonel Sizzle. Its prospect towers and chimney stacks, the show off bricks, exquisite glass, handcrafted to impress. Barking's best in 1573. Close to the Thames for the city commute and prime New World connections, family home, farm estate, trophy house with river views to entertain elite and noble guests.
Business promotion Victorian style.
Son Thomas lost his inheritance, and the family forced to part. Eastbury fell out of fashion, no longer a day's race. Land and title.
Family life at Eastbury. Frederick moved from Wapping to Barking and into Eastbury House with his wife Eliza and their children. The census return from 1861 records 7 Whitbread children. In 1871, 2 new additions to the household are recorded. One is a daughter Edith, born in Barking and baptised at Wapping with the names Edith True Eastbury Whitbread. And the other is a domestic servant. In 1872, when the lease ended, the family moved out of the house to Cambridge Road in Barking. However, Whitbread continued to use Eastbury Farm until 1875. Here's the Whitbread family.
The century saw its pattern fade. The eastern tower collapsed. Humans living in the west wing, livestock ruled the rest. Lofts for hay and harnesses, horses in parlours. Rather!
When Frederick Whitbread first saw the house in summer of 1858, it was in a poor state of repair.
They said, until the fab scrap saved the day.
1861 census.
Spab saved our money from developers' ambitions. They reclaimed, preserved, and wooed the National Trust to make Eastbury its first London acquisition. A vital role in both world wars and army requisition. Ex-servicemen's club, ARB Hub, a barrack balloon inquiry. Barking Council took on the lease. And as the city sprawled, the octopus spread tentacles to the east, and Eastbury welcomed London workers' housing nestling at its feet. A museum, a nursery, a community centrepiece, Hampton calling the east. Our Barking Street.
We'll watch this in a sec. This is the Summer Parlour that we're in at the moment. A culinary living room. The Summer Parlour provided the Cicely family with a pleasant living room through the warm summer months. The windows provide views in 3 directions, especially over the walled garden. Furnished with tables, a chair, stools, cushions, a carpet and pictures. This was a comfortable room, even by Tudor standards. In the summer, this room is cool, out of the sun, in the heat of the day. The cooler months, Clement and his family used the winter parlour with a south-facing window as their living room. The original Tudor door to the summer parlour, one of the few original doors that survive in this house. From sitting room to stables. Over time, Eastbury's fortunes changed, no longer valued as a grand home for a wealthy family. This side of the house became unfit for human habitation. In 1841, both summer and winter parlours were made into stables. We'll catch the film because it's just coming on. And we'll go back to that in a minute. Oh look, there's Carol, look. There's Carol from Barking. Ah.
We had a fire here about 35 years ago. A group of teenagers thought we come to set so light. So the hole in this ceiling just went. It was rebuilt again using beams of the same era with the church that was being pulled down. That's the wood from the fire. Yeah.
So the other home I was living in England, so time I come back here, I was only sort of, I don't know, months old or a year old, I don't know really. But I don't remember any other place other than England.
I think you're more like you. My mum and dad moved to Rugby Road after the war, was it? No, before the war, sorry, because my mum was evacuated. She went this road down Rugby Road before dropping.
I met my future wife there. We married in Dagenham. We could build a house in Dagenham. I've been working in Dagenham, I had 40 years.
So I actually lived in the borough for 36 years in total. And played football in the or tried to.
At 18, I went abroad. I started working as a holiday rep in New Yorker. And you talk to people and say, where are you from, Elaine? I say, oh, I'm from Dagenham. And they'd look at you sort of horrified.
Well, what's changed most, really, over the years is the sense of community. Because the people that lived here, because those in council houses, they lived here all their life. Their families, all their big families.
I always say when Wolves went from these way, that was heralding the big changes, the recent changes that have come in.
The ethnic mix has changed tremendously. Everyone will acknowledge that over the years. The borough celebrates diversity, and the change is very, very noticeable.
And it's not as tidy as it used to be. Some people done well with their houses, made them look better and painted them and done this and that, but others are not.
I could speak to my neighbour 3 doors away, you're still looking over the fence. You go over there now, you can't see your next door neighbour. Anybody you speak to, that I speak to, the first thing they say to me is, did you work before?
I was a fitter welder and I went in there for 2 weeks during their annual shutdown, and I was there for about 3.5 years, all different places in Falls.
The general misconception is that the estate was built to provide workers for Fords, but in fact it was the other way round.
In its heyday, they had over 40,000 employees. And a hell of a lot of people that you knew had links to Wardens.
My memory of Falls was obviously back in 1968 when we had the women going on strike there. And I remember both parts on about seeing them all outside with their banners, equality for women. Little did we know that would change the whole face of equality.
All these people are going to live there. I just think, I don't agree with it, to be honest. Too many flats being built. On every single little piece of land in Barking Down, they're building on.
There's a large amount of space there, and it needs to be utilised for something. Providing the infrastructure goes in properly, and I can't see any problem to building housing in the time.
I'm assuming that they know what they're doing.
You know, it's no good bunging 3,500 homes down if there aren't the roads, if there isn't the electricity, if there isn't the, you know, the gas. The infrastructure has to be there first.
If you went to any town in the UK and they was having lots of building put in the borough or the town, they would probably say exactly the same.
Frankston Road, it's about a mile long, and if you look down our street, you can see the ships going by on the Thames.
In the 1920s, it went from this little village in the country, and suddenly it was a thriving town of 100,000 people. I'm still really proud of being a Dagenham girl, wouldn't want to have been born or grown up anywhere else.
In 1965, then became borough of the Park in Dagenham. So I can only really talk about Dagenham and I did it. It was a very friendly place to be. And everybody down your street you knew.
I've always felt like the time I went out back in 1954, I've met lifelong friends there, but my family still living there. And although it has changed in many ways, I still love going back there.
I think it was the most amazing estate when it was built. The concept of it is a dream and was a fantastic idea that worked perfectly, well structured, plenty of green spaces, cheap rents for people who didn't have big amounts of money, and it's just the saddest thing on earth that you'll never see the like of it again.
Yeah, they changed a lot. And back to where we were. In 1841, both summer and winter parlours were made into stables. A drain to take away the muck ran down the centre of the room. 2 windows on the east side had been made into doorways in the garden, one of which was wide enough for farm carts, although other windows facing the wall garden were blocked up.
Eastbury Manor was built on the fertile meadows of Barking Abbey by a wealthy lawyer from his town, the audacious Colonel City. Its prospect towers and chimney stacks, the show-off bricks, exquisite glass, handcrafted to the best. Barking's best in 1573. Close to the Thames for the city commute and prime New World connections. Family home, farm estate, trophy house with river views to entertain elite and your guests. Just 5 years on, poor Cicely died. Son Thomas lost his inheritance, and the family forced to part. Eastbury fell out of fashion, no longer a des res. Land and titles became advanced, bricks and mortar, costly burning. Yeomen and tenant farmers, butchers, graziers, market gardeners, plundered its provision of rich marshland plots and lucrative rabbit warrens. Saw its pattern fade. The eastern tower collapsed. Humans living in the west wing, livestock ruled the rest. Lofts for hay and harnesses, horses in the parlours. Rather! Until the fab spab saved the day.
A fabulous society for the protection of ancient buildings.
Spab saved our manor from developers' ambitions. They reclaimed, preserved, and wooed the National Trust to make Eastbury its first London acquisition. A vital role in both world wars and army requisition, Exertions Club, ARB Hull, a barrack of balloon ink. Barking Council took on the lease. And as the city sprawled, the octopus spread tentacles to the east, and Eastbury welcomed London workers' housing nestling at its feet. A museum, a nursery, a community centrepiece, Hampton Court of the East, our barking surprise.
There we are, we caught the story of that nicely, didn't we? The history of the house and the story of people in the area. Now, my friends, join me for part 3.